Welcome to another day in the Matrix. This is Red Pill Podcast number 109. Hope you're all having a beautiful, beautiful weekend. Today's podcast, we're really going to focus on the charts and keep our attention centered around the technical analysis more than the date numerology, mostly because you guys are well aware of everything that's been happening with the dates, and the gematria numerology connections have been filling you in quite often. And this day in particular, April 30th, Sunday, today, is a very important daily close for the crypto market because it will be the bi-monthly candle, the monthly, the weekly, 5-day, 3-day, and 2-day close all in a single day. So that's really why I want to be focusing on this. This is a huge close for the crypto market. So we're going to be focusing on the charts today. Again, before we dive into things, get relaxed, get yourself comfortable, grab yourself a cup of coffee or tea if it's the morning time, or a glass of wine or a beer or any beverage of your choice. I'm just sticking to some plain water today. But I hope you're all doing amazing. I'm so glad to have you all here with me for Red Pill Podcast 109. We're just 2 podcasts away from episode 111. Thinking of something creative we could do for that, but we'll be maybe brainstorming that over the next week or so. But if you are new here, welcome to the Wolf Pack. It's so great to have you here with us. If you'd like to get access to our Discord server, just go ahead and send me a direct message on Patreon with your Discord username and the last 4 digits after your username. Do not comment in this video or send me an email. Just follow those instructions and I will reply back to you on a Patreon message. And one thing to mention about our voting system for the altcoins, I would just like to kindly ask if you guys could be a little bit more creative with your submissions, because I'm seeing a lot of repetitive coin suggestions. For instance, things like Algorand and Stellar Lumens and Theta, and we have been doing these very often, frequently. I want to take a break from reviewing those coins. I like to at least have about 3 full months of space in between the last time I reviewed a coin. It's very easy to use the search function inside of Discord. If you ever want to see the last time that I reviewed a coin, you just go over to the search function, you start typing out my name under user, and you'll see WatersAbove, and then you want to press enter, and then you want to type in the name of the coin, press enter again, and it will show you the last time I wrote the name of that coin, and it's most likely going to be from a Red Pill podcast. So that's the way I search to look at when the last time I reviewed a token, and it's very easy. It takes a couple seconds. And just a reminder, I want to wait about at least 3 months, at least 3. So that means stuff that, since we're moving into April, it's okay if we reviewed it in maybe early February, better if it was in January, or even better if it was longer ago. There's so many altcoins in this space. I mean, I know most of them are absolute nonsense, but still there's about 200 or so that keep recycling their way through the conversations and narratives of the crypto sphere. We tend to be seeing some repetitive ones, and I just want to make sure that we space it out enough so that new data can be gathered, and when I review it, I have something new to say. So just wanted to mention that today we're going to be going over a couple coins that I know I haven't looked at for some time. We'll be checking out Filecoin, Energy Web Token, Veracity, as well as Sologenic. And we're going to be doing a very thorough analysis on Bitcoin, everything from the bi-monthly chart, which is the 2-month candle, monthly, weekly, 5-day, 3-day, 2-day. I would like to also try to get that for Ethereum as well as XRP, and then we'll be moving into the altcoins. I'm just going to kick this off actually with a quick recap from the last YouTube video I put out regarding tomorrow and the next week. And then we'll just kind of move through this as usual. So here on the date calculator, like I said, I kind of have brought up this information several times, so we're going to just recap and speed through it. And for anyone new here, this will kind of get you up to speed. So quick update May 1st, which is tomorrow, connects to the first day of Rosh Hashanah, the Hebrew New Year, which is September 15th this year, by 137 days. And 137 is your 33rd prime number, 33 number of transmutation. Well, because Rosh Hashanah is a 3-day window, this naturally means the 15th, 16th, and 17th are all connecting to the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of May by 137 days, naturally. And I would like to extend this even out to May 4th because this 18th day will be the official, technically the first day of the new Hebrew year, 5,784. And it will be officially the end of Jubilee. And that's why I'm considering it this year, because it's a very special year. We only have a Jubilee once every 50 years. So the last time we had one, according to my work, was in 1973. Here we are in 2023. So because we're in the 23 year, it's very significant that we have Jubilee happening on the Hebrew year 5,783, which also adds up to that number 23. 23 is significant numerologically because it is the 9th prime number, and the number 9 is massive in numerology. It's the number of spatial infinity. It's pretty much a good way of describing what the number 9 is it represents the ego, because every time you work with this number 9 numerologically, it always comes back to itself. So consider that. Moving forward, though, that's something interesting about May 4th. And then, as I've brought up many, many, many times, we have the lunar eclipse on the 5th and the 6th of May. You can see that right here. Penumbral lunar eclipse on the 5th and 6th. We've been discussing this key date for a very long time. We're very close to that. We're about 5 days out. So definitely something to keep in mind energetically for the market. And on this 6th date of May will be the coronation of someone's fake king, Charles, not my king. So an epic week ahead, and we already passed our first quarter moon. Been discussing this for about 3 to 4 months now regarding the first quarter moon typically being a time frame we tend to see the lows in the crypto charts settling in. But we still need to consider the overall moon phase we're moving into, which is a full moon, and this one is a lunar eclipse. Although the lunar eclipse should be weaker now that we're in a solar cycle, it's still potential for a little more sideways for the crypto market, and don't be surprised if we have another volatile shakeout like we had last week on April 26th. And I'm just going to go over to the charts really quickly to recap that moment, which was this candle right here. In the same day, Bitcoin was up 6%, and then at one point it dropped all the way down 9% from the highs in a single day. I think in a 1-hour candle, Bitcoin lost more than $1,000 of value. So this is the kind of market we're in now. Since we've entered a solar cycle, we saw that solar eclipse had some pretty heavy energy, but nothing devastating. We've had a nice little recovery thus far. We're looking pretty good today. We're going to definitely be getting into all of the technicals for sure, but these type of volatile shakeout days like we saw on the 26th, I would not be surprised if we saw something like that next week because of all the significant dates that I've been keeping you guys updated with. So regarding this day, I just want to get this out of the way. On the 26th, there was a narrative that started to come out about that sell-off being due to the Mt. Gox ritual, which happened a very long time ago, and essentially the Bitcoin being redistributed back to the ones who were, I guess we could call them victims, but allegedly they were dumping Bitcoin on that day, which to me is nonsense because every single cryptocurrency at the same exact moment, at the same time, dropped. So coins that didn't even exist back during that Mt. Gox ritual went down. See, this is why I don't believe in narrative. I don't waste any of my prana on these narratives and the nonsense that's being spread. because it's to instill fear. It's to make people do irrational things, and to have, ultimately humans like to have answers. And those types of people typically don't like gematria or numerology or these astrological connections because it seems too, woo-woo for them. But if you've made it this far, it's because you've woken up. You know that the headlines and all the stuff that gets blown up in the media and what's trending on Twitter is all a distraction. So anyways, getting back to this, my eyes are still on May 17th through May 22nd, which is around the May new moon timeframe. The May new moon is on May 19th, and revisiting those key dates, the 17th through 22nd, from my sell in May and go away decoded. And I'm open to this extending out to the end of May or even early June based on the past 2 iterations of the Bitcoin automatic rally phase, which ended in the month of June. And again, we've been talking about this quite a bit lately, but we have this automatic rally, boom, ending in June. And then we have this prior iteration coming up right here, boom, ending in June. This iteration is something I am considering to be more likely to what we're going to see happen in this version now here in 2023. Where here in March, right here at this moment, we had a solar eclipse followed 2 weeks later by a lunar eclipse. We entered solar cycle, we stayed sideways, and then just blasted up for the finality of the automatic rally. As opposed to this iteration right here, we started solar cycle right there in July, right about July 2nd, and then that was the top. I don't know if we're going to do this version, and a piece of supporting evidence that makes me feel this is more the version we're going to repeat. 2 reasons. One, well, they both ended in June, so at least we have some, confidence of the month. And the second thing that I like about this structure is this was during a Shemitah year, whilst this wasn't. So we had the Shemitah from 2014 to 2015. Then we had a bottom come in. Then we have a start of a solar cycle right here after Shemitah. And then we had automatic rally rejection. So we had the Shemitah start here in this recent cycle, and here we are 1 year later. We're actually still in the 1 year time frame afterwards, and that's why I keep talking about Jubilee. Jubilee is until September 15th. We're still right there. And also another thing that's making me feel confident about the similarities is in the 2016 cycle, we saw Bitcoin come up to the golden pocket. Right here, you could see this fib pulled from swing high to swing low. We see the golden pocket rejection right there at the 786. And in 2019, we see swing high to swing low, golden pocket rejection perfectly at the automatic rally. Now, we haven't even gotten close to that. Our 786 in this iteration, you could actually see it right here. I'm sorry if this is a little messy. Let me show you this way. It's a little cleaner. You can see the 786 is at $50,000. Now, I don't know if we can make it up that high. That's pretty dramatic. And I've been more focusing on the levels of about 40,000 just to be conservative. And even Bitcoin pushing up to 40K would be dramatic for the altcoin market. Now, if it was to go to 48, that wouldn't be the weirdest thing ever because Satoshi Nakamoto is 48 years old, that mythological character that created blockchain. We remember, especially if you're an OG wolf, like you've been around here for a while, you remember my call out on leading into April 5th of 2022 about Bitcoin hitting 47,000 on Satoshi's 47th birthday. That happened. And then in this iteration, I said I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin dominance hit 48% around Satoshi's 48th birthday. And you can see right here, dominance has pretty much been hovering around that 48% level. This is your dominance chart. It's pretty beautiful how this is all coded into this mythological character called Satoshi. Now, whether it's a real person or not real, it doesn't matter to me. None of that matters. It's just about utilizing what is exoteric as a decoder to find what is esoteric. And this helps me to be able to determine what will happen in the market. That's all we're doing here. There's no belief. There's no belief system. It's just we're decoders. We need to be unbiased in this process and take away the tribalism, all the emotions, and just see it for what it is. And that's what's so beautiful about this system, is we get to save our prana for ourselves, for your own individual life, which comes back to your own individual trading plan. And that is really where you start to execute, successful trades, whether that be a long-term swing trade or you being a shorter-term, day trader, however you want to chop it up. Once you tap into this, you start to see the utility in it, and you can't really turn around because, well, you've made a choice to go the opposite of the herd, and that's usually where success is. So getting back to this, just to make everyone, be fully aware of where I stand, I still think that May 17th through 22nd are very significant for this market. I've shared the World Reserve Decoded and the Sell in May Go Away Decoded, which are available here. If you haven't watched them, please do. Those decodes have made me very open-minded to the month of June, considering those past two iterations of the Bitcoin automatic rally phase, which I just spoke about earlier. And as for how we're going to operate now, we just need to take it day by day, week by week, and really focus on the technical analysis to determine how the structure of this market looks and adjust accordingly. So reminder for those who are new here, based off of all of my decoding, it seems that July through November of this year is when the market should be noticeably bearish. Starting in July, we should have topped out beforehand and started to roll over. So June has always been a wild card since I started talking about this automatic rally theory about a half a year ago. And March and April have been way easier to determine, and May has been historic regarding a time frame for the overall market to bull trap, whilst Bitcoin seems to really like June. I don't know why, but it does. So we've gathered more than enough data. Now we just have to stay focused on your plan. Well, you just have to stay focused on your plan. And now that we're here, I don't want to waste any more time. I want to get straight into a recap of the 3 Bitcoin scenarios that I shared last week. So scenario number 1 was a micro bull trap. Let me see if I can find a clean chart for you guys, and then we're going to go over this. If I can't find a clean chart, I'll just make one. Okay. Delete this. I'll just clean it. All right. So that first concept that I shared in the last Red Pill podcast was a bull trap scenario, a micro bull trap. And that was determined by looking at this swing high here on April 14th down to this swing low here on the 24th. And I talked about us coming into this 29 to 30K territory. And Bitcoin literally did that in a single candle. And then it did it again the next day. And then we made it into about 29.5 and then have been on essentially a downtrend since this moment. I don't want to call it a downtrend. Technically, we want to get lows lower than March 18th, but you understand what I mean. We have a wick high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, and it's kind of coiling up. I would assume this might look like a bull pennant on like a 4-hour. Oh, this is really disgusting because of this washout. Okay, I wouldn't even look at the charts this way. I'm just kind of opening my mind to a little bit more of the data we've collected since I shared that scenario. So bear with me here. Needless to say, scenario number 1 came to life. So we saw scenario number 1 come to life, which was a micro bull trap, Bitcoin recovering to 29 to 30K and getting rejected, and then a little bit of a pullback. Now, where you want to start getting worried is if you're closing daily candles below this 236 after you have this rally, because that would indicate you're heading for a double bottom. And in the double bottom scenario, that could quickly turn into a dead cat bounce for crypto. So if Bitcoin has a dead cat bounce, everything else will, which would look like something like this. And then take you into the next leg lower, which would be 25K. Now, this naturally brings us to scenario number 2. which was me talking about the potential for lower targets first, and that would be lower lows in the micro range. That didn't happen because Bitcoin held support along this horizontal trading range that came in before that pump up to 31K. But essentially trading below 26,500 with a daily close below 27K. Now let's see how this all went down. Well, Bitcoin held 27K on closes. It didn't get below 26.5 either. So beautiful. That was such accurate analysis to share those two scenarios, because it was showing you how perfect. If we would have started trading below 26.5, I do think we would have started to get a little bit deeper in this range and then probably broke down to 25. And on the other side of things, to not close a daily below 27. Well, we held 27 and then we popped up for scenario number 1. So that's gorgeous. Now, scenario number 3 was a bullish breakout, essentially closing a daily above 30,600. And this can all be combined into a single scenario. That's why I set it up this way. So now that we've done scenario number 1, we can easily hold this 0.5 fib here, which would be about 29,000. Hold 29,000, get a shot up above the 30,000 trading range. And if we can start closing dailies above that 786, above 30,000, that looks pretty good. But ideally, you still want to get higher closure highs. That would be a closure over 30,600. So scenario number 3 is still possible. A bullish breakout. That's what I'm more leaning towards, especially because I've been bringing up this idea that our lunar eclipses should technically be weaker at this time. So we have about 5 more days. Can Bitcoin hold this 236 level for the next 6 or 7 days? Yes, of course it can. Bitcoin can wash out. Bitcoin can go up 9%, then drop 9%, then come up and still close the day green. We watch it happen all the time. This is crypto. So be open-minded to the energy of this market being extremely volatile at this time. For me, I think it's very weird that Bitcoin has not gotten into 33 or 40K just yet. So can it happen before June? Absolutely. Am I anticipating it to happen before the finality of this automatic rally? Yes. So even if Bitcoin was to come down to 25K really quickly, that wouldn't be weird. I've talked about this in the last Red Pill podcast, so rewatch that. If we were to roll over a little bit to 25K, that would be retesting this high right here and this high, which have not really been back tested since we broke out in mid-March. So technically, it'd be very bullish for Bitcoin to bounce that level and then start closing above 30K, but that would be a lot of drama in the market. It would look kind of like this structure right here where we dipped, came up for a higher high, bull trap, and then had a really sharp rejection bear trap followed by a shot up. So when you have a bull trap to a bear trap, that really shakes out leverage. Like that makes the leverage traders want to quit. But let me turn off all this stuff and show you guys something that I think is pretty interesting. And it has a lot to do with this structure right here. I do see similarities to what we're seeing right here, right here. Now, I know it's going to look very small on the charts. If I make it like a 2-day, it might skew the data too much. Okay, no, it looks a little better. Okay, so this is the automatic rally of 2019. Now, look, we came up into this, had a little bit of chop, a high that was rejected into this like V-shaped recovery thing that went up for one last spike. So look here, how we come up, we have a little bit of chop, come down, a little bit of like a barred head, come in, and then quickly get bought back up. Like if you were to look at these two fractals, they're pretty close. Given this one's trading at 30,000 and this one was trading at 8,000. So of course it's not going to be a 1-to-1, but it's not that far off. And the way that this leads to the finality of the kind of blow off, that wouldn't be weird either. That's kind of what we're anticipating. So look at the amount of days between this and the top. 18 days, 16 to 18 days. So if that was in fact that low, 16 days later would be May 11th. And look at how sharp Bitcoin went up in that time. It went up 80%. Now, I don't think we're going to go up 80%, but if I was to show you what that looked like, that would be like us getting to 48,000 in like 2 weeks. Bitcoin's done it before. Why can't it do it again? I'm not saying this will happen, and I'm not saying history repeats itself. That's not the point to any of this. It's just to show you that there is a cyclical nature to these markets, and we keep seeing these cycles repeat themselves in a very macro sense. So why not in a more micro sense? Well, we went over the first, the 3 key scenarios that I shared in the last video. We saw scenario 1 come to life. Scenario 2, which was the bearish scenario, so far has not played out. We're looking pretty good. We're holding higher lows. We are getting a little bit of a rejection energy around 30K. And we know that we'll have a bullish breakout more than likely if we could start to close dailies above 30,600. That still stands. So now let's go into our traditional analysis. We're going to look at the bi-monthly and try to remove as much data as possible. Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, this is super bullish. Look at the fact that we have, okay, I'm going to slow down now because I haven't looked at this chart in a while. I kind of wanted to save looking at this until I was ready to film this for you guys. Just 1 second. I'm going to drink some water. All right. So you can see a couple of things. For one, we're up 26% on the bi-monthly. It's looking amazing. We had how many candles? I guess to be fair, we had about 190 days. So 1 to about 4 candles chopping sideways below the 34 exponential moving average. Last bi-monthly close in January, we got above the 34 exponential. And then on this one, we're above the 8, 13, 21, and 34. We're closing above all the key moving averages, specifically the 8 moving average. So look at this iteration back here. Look at the yellow. That's all I want you to look at is just this yellow moving average. It's the 8 simple moving average, but we're looking at bi-monthly candles. So that's a lot of data, right? 60 days, about 60 days worth of data on a single candle. When we got above the yellow moving average for the first time, we stayed above it through the entirety of the next bull run. Now let's go to this cycle. You can see right here, the end of the automatic rally, we get above that yellow moving average. We stayed above it for the entirety of the bull run, even until we finally hit all-time high at the end of the year of 2021. Look, this was the C19 crash. It's like a gravestone doji. So we dojied out on that, but we still closed above that 8 simple moving average. So I want you guys to take notes on this and how important the macro analysis is. If Bitcoin closes above this 8, it might actually stay above on bi-monthly closes for the remainder of the next year and a half. Now, can we trade below the 8? Of course we can. But when we get closer to the end of the bi-monthly close, will we get sucked back into it? Well, it seems to be the case going on quite a while worth of data. I mean, look, we've held the 8 pretty much since 2010 on all bull runs. And once we close below it, we stay pretty much sideways, bottom out. And then once we get back above it, we rally again. Once we get back below it, we bottom out. Back above it, we rally. So it's just a beautiful, simple technical analysis indicator. It's gorgeous. I like making things simple for you guys. I like making it easy. I know this stuff could be very difficult. And if you're trying to dial in your skills, of course, I do have my crypto mastermind course. You guys get the biggest discount available on it as Patreon supporters. The link is in the description or it's in the comments on this video. I'm really grateful for your support. But during these podcasts, I always try to look for those little gems for you guys. Some very simple things that you could apply and zoom out, look at the larger time frames. This tends to really be helpful, clear people's minds and get them to be a little less emotional towards these markets. So I love the fact that we're getting this close. I mean, unless Bitcoin was to magically get rejected by $2,000 into today's close, anything's possible, of course, but this is looking pretty damn good so far. Let's see where the eight is at 26,300, and we're trading at 29,300. We're $3,000 above it right now. So this is really great. Now, some words of wisdom. This tells me that if Bitcoin in the future, perhaps later in this year, starts trading below the 8 simple moving average or below any of these EMAs, maybe we get a situation like last cycle where we had the C19 dump and we even got below the 34 again. Here, the 34 is trading at 22,000. That would be the greatest buying opportunity for Bitcoin. Whenever we start trading below this bi-monthly key moving averages, you're essentially in what would be considered oversold territory, but you're looking at the oversold indicator in a different way, not just like on RSI like we would typically look at. And don't worry, we're going to be looking at RSI and MACD when we get to smaller time frames. It's less important on these huge time frames, but keep this in mind, this eight moving average and the fact that we could be getting a bi-monthly close, we're going to be getting a bi-monthly close above it. Very key. Okay, I'm just checking in on the quarterly close, which is in June. See if I find anything. Oh, we've started to gather some 55 simple data on the 3-month. Bitcoin's growing up. You can see that little white line. That's the 55 simple moving average is starting to aggregate some data. That's pretty big because this is a huge candle. 90 days worth of data in a single candle. Oh, wow. Are we getting huge bearish divergence? Yeah, that's why I wouldn't even look at fucking RSI on these big candles. It's irrelevant. Alrighty. So we looked at the bi-monthly. Let's look at the monthly. Ooh, okay. Very important. First of all, we're trading above all key moving averages, but the one difference is this is in a more bearish posture. And the reason it's in a bearish posture is because the 8 is all the way at the bottom. And you can see the 21 is above the 34, but the 13 is below both of those. You want to see that 13 get above the 34 and the 21. So that cross came in right there in 2016. And then the cross came in pretty late, actually, in 2019. But when it is in bullish posture, it's the 8 or the yellow above the blue, above the orange, above the red. And then you can see we are looking pretty good for rallies. Here, it's in the reverse. So we still have opportunities for bigger pullbacks along the way. But the reason I made that noise earlier, I'm sure anyone who knows my work could have seen this right here, which is the white and yellow. That is the 55 simple moving average, and the 8 simple moving average gonna have a cross, potentially on tonight's closure. So look at the monthly chart. Wolves, you want to keep your eyes out on this. I don't know if it will be, actually it should be possible because look at the gap between. We could actually have this cross happen tonight. And we call this a wolf cross. When the 8 crosses above the 55 or below the 55, that's a wolf cross. And this is upside implied. And we would be closing above all of the key moving averages, which we essentially did last month as well. So closing another green month is nothing bearish. Like, this looks good. This looks real good, actually. Great. Nothing really to say. Also, okay, we're flipping a little bit more into the... This is good. Yeah. Okay. I'm liking what I'm seeing. So MACD still kind of in bear zone, but could be flipping more bullish for sure, especially on tonight's close, being another green candle close, holding the momentum, holding the trend. RSI is still above 50. That's bullish, more in bullish control. On today's close, I think it'll tick up to about 53, 54. So it's maintaining positive slope. The other thing that I like about this monthly is all of these moving averages are sloped to the upside. That's very good. As opposed to here, you see where they were sloping down and we were getting downward pressure. no biweekly. So we have a weekly close naturally. One moment. All right. So the weekly here, we have a lot going on. We had a wolf cross back here, which is the 8 above the 55 with upside implied. That's looking really good. We also had the 8 moving average cross above both 200 moving averages, which you can see the greens right there. Now, we've also had this blue moving average. The 13 has crossed above the 200s. That's looking very good. And I would like to see this 21 exponential moving average start to cross above the 200 exponential, and that could be happening tonight. So even though we're getting rejected lower highs, we're still holding trend in the macro. And this 55 moving average should start to flatline soon. Instead of sloping to the downside, it should start to smoothen. And this is a clear sign of recovery. All these crosses that happen here at this level, and the fact that Bitcoin has been trading here now, going on 2 months, holding this level. And even with this significant pullback we got last week, the buyback on it's been noticeable. We're buying back above the rejections that we had pretty much all in March and early April. It's looking good. And we're above the 8 simple moving average. So really nothing bearish to say about this until we start closing weeklies below the 8 simple, and then ultimately when we start closing weeklies below the 21 exponential. And the 21 exponential is sitting right there about 25,000, and I brought up 25,000 coming to this peak right here in August and this peak right here in February. How if we had scenario number 2 play out, which I shared in my last red pill, that would be the level to come back to. And the fact that we can see the 34 and the 21 exponential and the 200 exponential all sitting there around 25K, that would be a very heavy support level. So that's a good sign. If Bitcoin is to pull back, it should be supported by that $25,000 level right there on those moving averages. So now we're looking at the 5-day chart. Oh, this is good too. So you have your 200 exponential and your 13 is about to cross above that pretty much today. We should see that. And this is a 5-day candle. It's a big piece of data. You can see this 55 simple has started to slope to the upside. All moving averages sloping to the upside. And ahead of us, we have about 33K is the 200 simple. So that really does feel like the next level for us, 33K. And that could be happening within, I mean, who knows at this point, it could be happening into next weekend that fast. That's not even that much of a move for us. 12%, it's nothing. Bitcoin does that all the time. Look on this candle right here on the 5-day was a 21% candle. The next week was a 12% candle. A couple weeks behind that, 20%. Following week, 9%. So we know we could shoot up pretty dramatically in a single 5-day candle. Closing this one back above the 8 would be pretty nice, especially after 2 back tests of the 200 exponential. You could see right there on the last 5-day, we tested the 200 simple as well as this week. Nice bounce since. Looking at the 3-day now. Okay, this 3-day data is fucked up because you can see there's a glitch on the close. So let me look up another chart. See, this is why it's important, guys. You don't just accept the data for what you got to look at these nuances. Okay, so that looks okay. This is accurate. This is fixed. Okay, so now I'm looking at the Coinbase chart. It doesn't really matter. It's within reason. I just wanted to get something that didn't have that glitch. Okay. All right, so you can see this 21 potential cross above the 200 exponential. Looking very good. We've been holding that 200 exponential perfectly. Look at how clean this is. You see this green line? Look at how many weeks we've been holding that thing. 40 days holding that 200 simple on the 3-day. Sorry, 200 exponential. Huge indicator to consider. And the 55 sloping to the upside, 55 getting into about 22,000 territory. That's really solid because that holds you in this range to prevent any drop downs into break of structure. And the funny thing is, like, we're not technically bearish until Bitcoin starts closing below 20,000. Like, we're holding a higher low structure. We have the lows in here, higher low, still technically a much beautiful higher low, 27 versus 20. on the 3-day structure. So I like to see the slope becoming more dramatic to the upside on the 55, especially on the 3-day. It looks really good. Yeah, this looks awesome. Same sort of deal where we have a 32,000, right around 32, 33,000 is that 200 simple. So we have both on the 5-day and the 3-day, kind of a similar deal. One moment. Sorry about that. Alrighty. So we could also see that the 200 simple on the 2-day is now pretty low. It's made it to where it belongs. I think that we haven't seen something like that in a minute, especially on these more macro candles. Having this 55 cross above the 200 exponential would be great because it'll be in that $26,000 territory, essentially lifting the base of support a little bit higher, which is something we want. And all moving averages are in bullish posture, but I would like to see today get bought up. I really would. So take a note on this. I would like to see the daily close today above 29,400. It's a little greedy of me to say that because like on the bi-monthly, we look amazing. On the bi-monthly, we're $3,000 above the 8 simple moving average. But what I would really like is just another green continuation candle, which could help these moving averages start to just continue their posture to the upside. It's like a Bollinger Bands. Okay, so we're getting the 200s and the 55 all below bottom side band. The bands are starting to constrict a little bit after a little bit of expansion back in March. So that's good. As they squeeze together more and constrict, you tend to have breakouts, and you have breakouts in your trend. So that would mean if we were to close above that top side band on the 2-day, about 30,800, that would be when we start to anticipate more upside naturally. We're looking at RSI about 60, so we're still fine there. Let me see something. Technically, like a hidden bullish divergence. Kinda. I wouldn't even care to talk about that this time. It's really irrelevant. Okay, now we're here on the daily. All right. Okay, so MACD about to cross bullish. Green histogram. What are we looking at on RSI? We're about 55 on today's close. We'd probably be about 57. We can see the 200s where they need to be. As I said earlier on the 2-day, we got the 200s sitting south of the border. And then we have our 55 coming up pretty strong, about 27,500. So I would assume on today's close, we're going to start to see it into like 27.7, 27.8, and that should also be a very, very good short-term support on daily closes. This is all going to help Bitcoin stay above 25K, ultimately. Okay, so we have this 8 crossing potentially tonight too. All right. I mean, all in all, in the macro, we look amazing. We look really, really good. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but yeah, it's looking pretty damn good. We could consider there could be a little bit of like this going on, a little bit of a trend line to consider. I'm not huge on the trend lines unless they're a lot of data, like 100+ days. But this seems pretty clean right here that we're getting rejected off of this. If I was to look at the 12-hour chart, probably get some answers. Oh, wow. We almost dipped into oversold on the 12-hour RSI on that bigger pullback after the eclipse. We have a wolf cross on the 8 and the 55 on the 12-hour chart. The 12 hours starting to support. Damn, this is close to breakout. Now, what's potentially to happen in this scenario, by the way, I'm looking at the 12-hour chart. I'm pulling a bullish fib accordingly. I'm going to zoom this up a little bit to show you what's going on. So we have the fib plus this trend line plus our moving averages, playing with a lot of data at once. But you can see we're getting rejected on the outside of this. and it's right there coming in at the 618, which is the bottom of the golden pocket. Ideally, you'd want to see us pop above this, but with a back test. One moment. So you would like to see maybe get to, oh, that's too hard to see. You would like to see us get above this trend line, maybe make it to like 29.7 on a daily close, actually start closing and holding daily closes inside of the golden pocket. And then maybe something like that, like a cheeky back test somewhere, hold this horizontal support, bear trap, get people to think we're sinking lower, but it's just a back test to the outside of this trend line. And then once you break that level right there, you would want to anticipate us heading to the next leg up. It's about 33,000. And from 33,000 to 40,000 could all happen in a single week when you're talking crypto. So just keep that in mind. This 12 hours looking pretty good. All right, I'm going to do a quick rundown on on Ethereum. Let's see what's up. Not going to be as arduous as the Bitcoin TA, but I think I probably shared at least 3 new things for everyone here. So if you took notes and you took that seriously, you got a lot of value out of that, step-by-step rundown of everything from that bi-monthly down to the daily. Okay, so we're looking at ETH right now on the bi-monthly candles. Gorgeous. Okay, so you can see on the bi-monthly, we were getting rejected several candles, and this is a continuation candle. This looks beautiful. So nothing to complain about here on the bi-monthly. We could be above the, okay, if we hold $1,818, which right now we're about $1,000 over, that would be above the 8 simple. Beautiful. Now we're looking at the monthly. We have the 8 above the 55. Beautiful. We have the 8 and the 55 sloping to the upside. Beautiful. We closed above the 8 back in January and have held it as a support for the last 3 months. Beautiful. And we're looking to have a continuation candle. It's not great. This candle structure isn't the most gorgeous looking thing ever, but given all other things, if we can get above this break right here, which is about 944, excuse me, that would look really good. I don't know if if Ethereum could get above that by today. Can it? It can. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, it has to close like 2% up. And what are we, down for the day? Yeah, we're flat right now. We're flat. If ETH can close today at 1,944, that would be wild. Because we'd be closing above this break right there, which led to the selling climax. And that was the most dramatic break for ETH because that was the lows back in June. It even held a higher low structure into November when most of the altcoin market went another leg lower. And maintained going lower all the way into the end of the year, while ETH just maintained bullish structure regarding the selling climax theory. It's again all theoretical. Wyckoff is just one of the most accurate formulas that I've ever used to determine how the market operates. So this candle right here, it's really hard to say. I wouldn't even want to compare it. It's really hard. Looking at such limited data because I only have 1 bull run. At least with Bitcoin, I have about 2.5 bull runs prior. But yeah, this looks really good. Oh, amazing. Yeah, we're above all key moving averages. We're above all of them. This could be potentially the first monthly close in a very long time where we're above all of them. Holy shit. That's 500 fucking days. That we could be above all of the moving averages. Just saying, consider it. Of course, it's not in a full bullish posture because the 8 is still below the EMAs, but get where I'm going with this. It's good. It's a good thing to see. Again, I would still like it to be above 1,940. That'd be amazing. One moment. All right. Now, the weekly looks incredible. Okay, we have this wolf cross here with upside implied. We're holding the 8 simple moving average. Amazing. We have the 200s where they should be at the bottom, the 55. We had the 21 cross above the 34, bullish, 13, and 8. It's in bullish posture. The weekly looks amazing. Topside Bollinger Band at 2,110. So that's a rejection level if we're going to come up soon, just to consider. It's like so good. Now I want to see this 55 flat line because it's pretty dramatic. Looking at the 5-day now. 5-day, we have that 200 sitting around 2021. Ideally, getting above that 8 simple moving average on today's close would be amazing. That would be 1,900. It's right where we're trading. It's right where we're trading. So yeah, like I said with the bi-month, or was it the monthly analysis? Yeah. 1,940. Let's see what ETH could do. That'd be a really nice level to get above. That would look great. Oh, and that's right here too. On the 3-day chart, that's where the 8 simple moving average is sitting, and the 3-day looks amazing. I would like to see this 21 above the 200. That could be coming in today for sure. Back test of the 200 exponential on the 2-day chart, followed by a bounce. That's looking pretty good. Getting above that 8 moving average would be ideal, but I like this cross that I'm seeing here at the bottom of that 55 getting above the 200. The 200s at the bottom are where they need to be. Just remember I said that. Like here. Good example. Okay, and we're looking pretty good. 55 was back tested on the 26th, the day that we had that huge volatile candle. Like, look at what happened with ETH. ETH was up 5%, and then from top to bottom, swooped down 9%, and then it ended on a doji. But I thought this was because of Mt. Gox. Where was the Ethereum in that? You see, narratives are bullshit. Don't get distracted. But it's clear as day to me here on the daily chart. We're getting rejected at the 21 exponential, which is coiled up with the 13 exponential. And the 34 and 8 are at the bottom. This is really sandwiching together, so I'm sure the Bollinger Bands are tightening. Oh, actually, no. Oh, yeah, that makes sense because of that expansion moment coming in at the April timeframe. Leading into the eclipse, we definitely widened. Okay, sensible. So for me, yeah, 1,940 to 1,950 would be a really nice close to get. And let me pull a fib really quickly and see what we're working with in the short term. That would be getting us above the 0.5 fib and into the golden pocket territory, and no parties until we start closing above 2,120. Until then, just lower highs. Let's move on to XRP. Okay, XRP is getting a little bit of a buyback. That's good. Let's get the bi-month candles. Turn off this noise. Alrighty, man. We have to get above this. Okay, so we're slightly above these 2 rejection levels. This is a crazy W pattern. Like, this has been going on now for 300 days. So getting above that level of 46 cents would be ideal. We're at 47.5 right now. Come on. 48 cents at least on tonight's close. The 55 simple has been a support on the bi-monthly. And then we have at 46 cents on the nose is the 8 simple moving average. That's really important, guys. Like, look at how important that is, because if you go back to the last cycle, that's the blow off top where we hit $3.30. Once we got below the 8, which was right there, we stayed below the 8 for 970 days. Here we topped out, but when we got below the, technically it should be right here, it's been half that time. We're potentially recovering the 8 simple moving average. And it's a similar structure. If you just look at this yellow line, you'd see wave up, crash, wave up, crash. So we're recovering in half the time, and that makes sense because if we were to look at this as a very macro Wyckoff, this would actually be your all-time high buying climax, this would be your selling climax, and this would be your automatic rally in a macro sense. And that's why I'm open-minded to seeing like a $14 to $20 XRP in 2024 leading into 2025 for the next blow-off top, because this is a very long-term trading range, almost 2,000 days. This isn't like a 4-year cycle. This is an extended, like super cycle almost, if you consider it. And XRP already had that crazy cycle back here, you know, going up 50,000% or whatever. Okay, getting back to reality, I really like to see this close above the 8 simple moving average on the bi-monthly. It's good. It did not happen back here, so this is a good sign. Let's look at the monthly. Oof. Okay, so the monthly is not looking as good. We back tested the 8, which is fine, but we could be closing below the 55 simple. I would like to see a wolf cross of the 8 above the 55 to get more confident. Yeah, it's not looking amazing. Let's see what the EMAs are looking like. All right, rejection 2. This is not looking as strong as the Bitcoin chart, the Bitcoin and ETH charts. In this macro analysis, we could be closing below the 13. That's not good. Okay, this has to bounce. Now, this is your W right here, and where it's trading right now as I'm filming this is the neckline. So this was an important place to back test, but we want to see a bounce from here, man. And if we could see a bounce and close, yeah, it's that 54 cent level. I've been talking about it for how many months now? We need to get back above that. So closing off the monthly here at like 48 cents would be nice. It's clearly holding that neckline as a support, which is awesome for a W breakout. And then let me see what we'd be working with. It would probably only be about 70 cents or so on the measured move. Oh shit, it's 83 cents. So it's that level that I keep isn't that funny? I've talked about this level several times over here on my Twitter account. Let me see real quick. Yeah, right there. 83 cents. The XRP army's getting mad because I'm not telling them $589 or whatever lie they want to keep believing in. But yeah, you could see right there that W breakout. I brought it into a linear scale and measured in linear, and I'm just stacking it on top of the wick highs, which is what you want to do with a crypto, much more volatile. And it brings you to 83 cents. You can see that highlighted right there. The other idea behind the 83 cent level was with the VPVR. And if you look at the VPVR right there around the transition of 80 to 85 cents, we get a little peak, just a little peak right there. So that's at 83 cents, and that's what made me think about it. Plus, if I turn off all of these indicators, you're going to see at around 83 cents, it's right here, all of these rejections, which led to the breakdown. So that's why I really like that level of around 83 cents. It's slightly above the 0.5 fib. And I've told people between 83 cents and $1 can happen as the automatic rally. It just happened in one fell swoop. Also, over on, I think it was Discord yesterday, I shared a piece of analysis on the 2-day. So let me do that while this is on my mind. All right, so it is right here. It looks a little messy. I'm sorry, but just pay attention to the concept here. So we have the 2-day chart. You see this white moving average right here? That's the 55. And then this dark green moving average is the 200 simple. And when they crossed last, it was back in September of 2020. That was 900 days ago. The last time that they crossed with the white above the green. Well, we're about to have that happen very soon right here, where you can see they're kissing each other. So on today's close, this cross might be coming in. And what I liked about this structure was we had a rise up Bart Simpson head, come back into the 200 exponential. Then we had the cross. So let's look at what happened here. Rise up, Bart Simpson head, back tested the 200 simple, about to get the cross. Now, also, if you combine this with the idea that, sorry, I wish it would like zoom. Okay, it's a little better. So we held the 200 simple until we just popped up. Now, the whole narrative behind this was the Flare token distribution airdrop, and then this big shakeout was due to the SEC lawsuit with Ripple. But I think that that's a pretty interesting consideration of this cross. So when we get that cross, will we have this moment? It's very possible. So keep that in mind, family. That seems to be a very powerful cross for XRP. And I'm just actually going to leave it at that now. I'll do some daily analysis. I don't want to get much more into it because it's going to generally follow whatever Bitcoin and Ethereum do anyways. Okay, so here we are on the daily. The 55 simple has been a very important support for XRP, clearly. So keep that level in mind. The 8 is now stalled out. It's sloping to the upside again. No wolf cross just yet, which is good. We don't want the 8 to cross below the 55. We want it to hold. Got the 200s at the bottom where they should be, and the EMAs are giving us a little trouble. Okay, so getting back above that 21 exponential would be key, and that's 48 cents. So I keep saying it. I want to see us back above 48 cents. Let's turn this off. Let's look at a fib pull. We have a fib from a swing high down to the swing low. 48 cents-ish gets us back above the 382. That would be very nice. And ultimately, I want to see us closing again above 54 cents, which is right there at the 786. So 54 cents is like the bane of this coin's existence. Yeah, so nothing changes. So I have to naturally move on to the altcoins. But that's the full analysis on that, guys. Okay, I'm looking at Filecoin now. I should have added the other tokens. Let me see. And I think I have the solo chart. Okay, we're looking at Filecoin right now. Whoa, huge sell-off. Mamma mia. Okay, is this giving us more data? Okay, this is a lot of data. This goes back to 2017. It launched at the worst time. It's like the worst time for a coin to launch. Insane bull run though. Very amazing. 6,000% off of that big sell-off and being launched at the worst time ever. And it held really well during the C19 moment because it stabilized within this $2.70 level. But this is a trigger right there that I do not like. So now let's look at what happened in the last cycle. 99% losses. It came down as low as the C19 crash. So that would be like if Bitcoin back in the end of last year, 2022, just 5 months ago, close your eyes and imagine Bitcoin trading at $3,000. Does that like make your stomach hurt? The fact that it was at 15,000 while this coin was trading back at the same levels, like this is like why all of this stuff you really need to be careful with. Because yes, it had an amazing bull run, blah, 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 but it still lost 99.99% of its value, and it doesn't hold structure over time. It's just a big, like, this is a big middle finger right here. So I wouldn't touch this thing with 1,000-foot pole, and if I was to invest in it, it would be like 2% of my portfolio. It doesn't have proof in the charts to show me that it can perform well. It just had one bull run, and since then it's given up all of its gains, returned right back down to its cycle lows. Technically, still to this day, it's trading down 97% from its highs. Yeah, I just don't really... Yeah. Let me pull some fibs and see what we're working with here. Okay, so we're still below the 236. We would consider automatic rally when we get above the 382. I don't even think this thing would have the juice to make it to $16. That $16 area would be right there at these supports before we had a little bull trap around this $20, $30 level, let's just call it, and then the selling climax initiated even further. So $17 is a key level, and I would say between 13 to 17 is about as good as it gets for this. Now, could this coin go lower than $2 in October? Oh yeah. This is something I could see trading at $1 in the future, probably, just given the way that this whole chart looks. Like, it went from $200 to $2. Like, fuck me. This is just retail. Like, retail is having fun. And if you bet on retail, you get in at the right time. It's great. But if you bet on retail long term, good luck. Yeah. Anywho, not even holding the 236 looks bad. The fact that it got slightly above it to $9 back in February and then dipped below the 236, it's not looking good. It's really very little positive things to say about this chart. And given the part of the cycle we're in now, I would really be stay away from this kind of stuff, these types of charts. So yeah, as for downside, I think 482 can hold in the meantime till Bitcoin's done completing its automatic rally, and then getting back into the $3 territory is very likely into the summertime of this year, probably by July, August. All right, now we're looking at, yeah. Okay, this is Energy Web Token. Okay. That line that I drew is clearly very accurate, because you can see this yellow line. Like, I did just a basic horizontal analysis on this. You don't even need fibs. You can see rise up, support, up, support, up, support, up again, support, again, barred head, support, then breaking down. GTFO. Like, you want to escape this dumpster fire because now you broke down, and then rejection, rejection, rejection. So this was a very important level as support, and now it's confirmed resistance. It's confirmed resistance. Keep that in mind, guys. So I'm going to pull a fib off of these levels and see what we're working with here. Trading well below the 236. Couldn't make it above the 382. I don't even know where to actually pull that fib from, because it's, you guys see the data is very skewed. This isn't the best place to go for the truth, but doing what we can. So $22.22. Whatever. It's pretty much there. All right. So yeah, we continue to pretty much get I'm going to actually leave it where it was. So I'll meet it halfway. Okay, so until we get above the 382, there's no real automatic rally, and because of this is such a key level of $5.10, it needs to get above that to have any, life force. And I would assume if it can, it will be like a blow off top, very similar to all of these shakes to the upside. So maybe something like this. And then it would come crashing down, probably start to trade into $1 or lower into September for sure. Not enough chart data. Clearly a horrible chart. It can't even hold the long-term macro support. A 700-day support, it broke below it, and now it's starting to get rejected, and it's been rejected off of that level now, going on 300-day, a full year, pretty much, yeah. So I don't like how it's trading below the 236. That doesn't look good. It's pretty much back near lows. And this is not riding the energy of Bitcoin and Ethereum at this time. It's lagging. And how much? A decent bull run. Like, I mean, really good. But how long did you have to get in? You would have had to get in at launch. Yeah, like Bitcoin kind of still outperformed this if you think about the timing that it gave you to take action. Way more time to get in and way more time to get out than this thing. So yeah, poor performing project. I know there's going to be people that are like, but Waters, don't you know about what the project's like, the people involved in the technology? None of that matters. It's never mattered, ever. People think they were smart by investing in some like white paper during this moment. And this goes for everything, by the way. No, you weren't smart. You were just in the right place at the right time. And the Federal Reserve and central banks were printing money to oblivion and pouring it into everything. That's why everything went up. There's no other reason. Now, Bitcoin is what leads it all. And Bitcoin runs on astrology, numerology, gematria. There's other projects that do as well, where it's proven without a shadow of a doubt that that's how it operates. And when those coins make their moves, everything else follows suit. especially if you're looking at least a couple of years of chart data. If you're trying to pull up a chart that only has like 2 months of trading, don't even show it. It's irrelevant. You can put $1,000 in a ERC20 shitcoin and make it go up 10,000% in like a week, and then it could crash right down to zero the following week. So it's never fair. But when I see projects like this, I know that a lot of people get excited and over invested in it and decide to over diversify and pick up plays like this because of the narratives and the technology behind it and the team behind it and all that. And if you're playing it as venture capital, which is 3% or less of your portfolio, then it doesn't matter. But then when you start to put it at like 20% of your overall portfolio, 25%, 30%, that's where it could be really, really unfortunate, because you're looking at these dramatic drawdowns, and then it's speculation if it's ever going to recover. Pure speculation. So now we're looking at Veracity. Okay, so here is the C19 moment. Veracity was trading at 0.0002. Today, it's up 2,000% above from that level. So do you see the stark difference between that and Filecoin? Hope that makes sense. So nice horizontal trading range, a little bit of upper support, return back to support, and you're looking at a bull run of about 20,000%. So best looking coin today so far. Had a little bit of a distributional top and a shot to the upside, very similar to Bitcoin. A 98%, 97, 98% pullback, what we anticipate. That's very normal. Okay, but the data on this is fucked. You can't even analyze the chart on this type of trading. You see how like it's so scattered. It's because it's trading at a fraction of a penny. Okay, well, I like how it's holding structure. We have a low, higher low, higher low. I like how the C19 levels were down here, and the low in the selling climax thus far has held at a much higher level. I like how if I pull a fib from that swing high to the swing low, we actually made it above the 382, but I do not like how we got rejected right below the 0.5 fib. So this could be the end of the automatic rally for this coin. If Bitcoin was to come up one more time, maybe you can get to about 1 penny and 0.17. 0.17 maybe as high as the bottom of the golden pocket. I don't know. This coin seems to have a decent structure. Decent. So yeah, I would look into this range right here between the 0.5 and the 618, similar to what XRP should probably do. Yeah, so that would be about another additional 150, 170% to the upside. Not bad. And then now the bad news is after it does that type of move in the automatic rally, you could have a spring. And your spring would be a break of structure from this low right here, and it could come down into this first horizontal support, which I'll show you a couple levels. We have right here. And then we have the upper level, which I put right there. That would be the territory I would anticipate us coming back to for a spring into the fall time or Q1 of 2024. That's about how dramatic it could get. And then that would look like about 99% losses. Yep, exactly. So I would still GTFO, because a coin that could go up 20,000% could lose 99% easily. Decent looking chart though, not nearly as bad. One other thing I don't like is the fact that it got launched, or there's not much data that comes in before the C19 crash. So we don't have multiple cycles to work with on this. It's very new. Just keep that in mind. That means it's open to go to zero, because what's holding it back from going to zero? It's already trading at a fraction of a penny, right? I'm not shit talking the coin. I don't have anything emotionally invested in any of this. I'm just speaking what I'm seeing based on the charts and my awareness of how this market works. I know sometimes these things could be triggering for people, but the one thing you can say about me after 100+ Red Pill podcasts is I'm consistent with the way that I analyze. And I'm willing to look at a chart that looks good and go, oh, wow, that looks good. And it happens all the time. Anyone could vouch for that. I do get some really good looking charts sometimes where I'm like, damn, that looks like solid. Like even BNB, I thought Binance token still looks fucking good. Like, geez, man, this thing's just holding a sideways range now from, like, that's an 800-day horizontal trading range with consecutive higher lows going back from June. And it's holding the 382 fib. Like, this looks fucking good. I'm not saying to invest in it. I'm just saying that's a good example of a good looking chart. Okay, let's go to an example of a horrendous looking chart, which is what is this? Is this the coin that I said looked like a golf club a couple months ago? Yeah, this is... Okay. Again, please don't get offended. It's just, this looks like trash. I don't even know what to say. Yeah. This is not a good way to wrap up the podcast. I'll try to make this funny for people, just to breathe some life back into everyone. All right, so we have a 98% sell-off, very typical, nothing weird. Okay, we have a peak coming in April 2022, somewhere around 6 cents, a lower high somewhere around 38 cents, successive lower highs. And then we had a horizontal structure that was holding since the end of this year, going on 130 days. And whilst Bitcoin and Ether go into the upside, this thing has broken down 130-day horizontal support. And it's back into its selling climax lows. Like literally April 24th, just last week. So can this thing start dropping below 10 cents like in July? Oh yeah. Like I think this thing might not make it back above 24 cents in the short term. Because with all of what Bitcoin has done in the rest of this overall market, this thing hasn't done shit. It's just still super, super low. So yeah, I wouldn't... I think a lot of us receive this thing for free. That's all it's worth. Like it's good that you got it for free. Yeah. Whew. Yeah. Okay. I don't know what to say. I think this thing is going to go to 9 cents probably in July into August, 8 cents. And then it's still in price discovery to the downside. It has yet to figure out where it wants to stop. And the fact that every high is just continually rejected on a lower high, it's not good. Okay, maybe I'll find something to say to wrap this up. Oh man, I'm fishing right now. I'm fishing. Let's look at gold. Oh yeah, that's okay. Dope. Gold made it up to about 2050, a little bit of rejection off the top, but we're holding that 786. That's looking pretty good. Yeah, this gold chart's dope. It's really looking solid, and I still think that $2,400 is possible by the end of 2024, or by 2024. I wouldn't even be surprised if it happened, into the end of this year because of us moving into the end of Jubilee. Kind of a relief energy, but we have to see. This structure does look pretty good, and like a widening oh yeah, I remember I did the dragon head. That's what this really looks like a dragon's head. I remember drawing this a couple weeks ago. I don't remember how I did it, but it's like totally dragon vibes, and we're moving into the year of the dragon, so we'll see how that goes. But hey guys, I really appreciate everyone. I didn't want to just leave it off with that solo try. I had really nothing to say on that. I hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast. I know it was a long one. We went over so much with the Bitcoin chart, looking at the macro analysis, everything from the bi-monthly down to the 3-day, 5-day, 2-day. Tonight's closure is super important, so I hope you took notes. And we have a new trading week and new trading month opening up tomorrow. So I'm really interested to see how this 18th week of the year plays out with the lunar eclipse and this coronation of the fake king. I'm sure you guys have a lot to say. You could share it in the comments below, but also remember with the voting system on the altcoins, just make sure that it's been about 3 months or so since we've looked at coins, and try to find some good looking charts, some stuff that has some pretty good structure, not crazy chop. Let's find something that's impressive. And I know that we're 100+ episodes deep now, so it's kind of difficult to find new projects, but there's a lot of people in our community. I'm sure you guys have lots of great ideas and can work together to pick out 3 or 4 projects that are looking good, and I'm excited to review them next week. So I'm going to wrap this one up here. Appreciate every single one of you. Much love.